All right, welcome to the episode of P-Card Talk. I'm Mike.
And I'm Aaron.
Let's thank our people.
Let's do it. So, Sriracha Club members, we got Gabriel T, Matt W, Leslie N, Chris S, Steve J, Carl K, Sandra A, Ken S, David B, Richard B, Aaron L, Matthew G, Matthew M, Sean H, and Nick F.
Thank you guys so much. I know some of you are signed up for the drive. We definitely appreciate that. If you didn't sign up and you want to go, there is a wait list, correct, Aaron?
Yep, just go on pcartalk.com and then look for VAR and there'll be a drop down for it.
You know what to do.
Super easy.
Tell you guys what to do all the time. It's in one ear, out the other. It's all good. Talking to ourselves, right? Dancing in the dark here.
You'll be getting on the list for sure because there's already a list.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
All right. Well, finally, we do have a special guest this evening. Good friend of ours. Man, we've been friends for probably 6-7 years now. Kevin McCoon, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Hey, man, thanks for joining us. Yeah. Now, let's do a little background. So, Kevin, I'll kind of do a little intro for you. Kevin.
Okay.
Kevin's a business owner. He owns the Ruck Shop. I'll let you elaborate later if you want to, but I'll just do the high level. Scooter parts. How long you been doing that for?
I've been doing it since 2010. So we do Honda Ruckus and Honda Grom parts, and we'll talk a little bit later. But I do something else because of Car Talk. So we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Sweet. So, yeah, Kevin's always been a car guy. We've spent a lot of time together, Aaron and I, with Kevin at multiple events, not just at our event, and got to know him, a lot in the background. Used to ride motorcycles, used to build motorcycles, used to build hot rods, still has a T-bucket hot rod. So he's not just a Porsche guy. He's a car guy at first, I would say, a lot like a lot of us. And then we kind of just gravitated towards Porsche. So we want to talk about his Porsche story and how that all came about. So, without further ado, let's just kind of get into it. So I remember you telling me some stories about you having a Dodge Viper and all that kind of stuff. So I'll fast forward a little bit. Take us from when you decided you were going to buy a Porsche. How did you come up with that in your mind? How did you make the decision on what you landed on and where and all of that stuff? I think a lot of listeners would like to hear that, as maybe some of them are going to be first-time buyers someday.
Yeah, so I used to have, I think we had, between me and my wife, we had probably, 5 or 6 hot rods. A lot of them were 1966. I don't know why, but that was the year, but Cadillacs and trucks and T-buckets and just hot rods. So, with old cars, you typically drive them and then you fix them. And I got tired of doing that. Plus, it was becoming to be a pain in the butt to move cars around and stuff. So I sold a lot of my cars, and I wanted just to go complete opposite direction, where I wanted a car that I can hop into, drive it, semi-flashy. And I got tired of the same old, you go to these old hot rod rallies. You guys all seen them, and it's, the little guy with his cap, facing the car, and,
the crying child.
Exactly. Don't touch my car. You go to one, you go to all of them. So I looked at a lot of cars. I looked at a Ferrari 420. I looked at a NSX, the new NSX. I looked at a Skyline, the kind of fancy Lexus, not the fast one, but like the one that real estate lady would drive. Mm-hmm. Sorry if anybody has that car, but I looked at a lot of cars, and then I went to Chicago, and I was at I think when they unveiled the GT2 RS, and it was a great car. So I asked my friend, I said, hey, you've had all these cars that I've wanted before. What do you think? And he told me, get a Porsche. You can drive a Porsche, you can drive it to the track, beat the hell out of it, drive it home, and it's going to start up. So I did. I looked at I just went right forward and looked at a GT3, got a 2016 GT3, and flew into Charlotte, Lamborghini. It was a used car. I had a roll cage in it, had side muffler deletes, and then that's where I met you guys. I met you guys, I believe, at Sebring.
Yeah.
I was at the Porsche Corral tent, and just I'm a very talkative person. Met Mike, and Mike and Aaron had a concept that they wanted to do, which was P Car Talk. So we kind of talked a little bit, and since I've owned a number of businesses, I said, hey, this is how you do this is how you do that. We became instant great friends. And then you guys got incorporated. I showed you guys how to do some stuff, and then you guys kind of let me hang around a little bit. Like, I remember you guys always telling me, hey, this is our accountant, or this is our business guys. And when you guys would do interviews with the photographer and with the Brumos guy, and I would just literally sit there like,
I was like, this is our GM. So then like we would always get a +3, right? Remember, like a lot of those things. I was like, this is our GM. Yes. Like, he just handles like basically everything.
Yes. So, we spitballed a lot of ideas and stuff, and you guys had a lot of great ideas. And honestly, P Car Talk has definitely, I know this sounds kind of cliche, changed my life. I hate to say it, but I do a lot of things centralized around Porsche now, as I did when I did hot rods. I mean, I used to be in a hot rod club and stuff, and now all of my, I would consider you guys and other people family, has really changed. Like, if I'm doing something with a group of friends and I'm not somewhere else, I'm at a Porsche event, or I'm hanging out with friends eating dinner, and I know them because of you guys. So, you guys had your Farron, the first one, and I think I was in England when I was talking to Mike, and he was telling me, oh, we're going to do like a monthly subscription. I'm like, bro, just tell me, just put all of it for 1 year. Let's do this. I don't want to pay per month. And he was like, okay. So he did it, and I paid, and I remember laying in bed.
Yeah, like set it and forget it. That's why I was like,
exactly.
He was the first one. I remember he was like, you were like in London, and you're like, dude, I will be the first one to change it right now, and I'll do it. And I was like, man, okay, This guy's about it. Like, thank you, Kevin. Like, this is, I mean, he's put his money where his mouth is. Okay.
Yeah.
It's probably Andrew Gladden first, but that's how it always is.
And then I think that happened, and then my first event with you guys was DRT. Like, the first time that we spent a night and we hung out and we got an Airbnb. And from that time, it was actually my first day being on a not a drag strip, but actually being on a road course. So we did DRT, I did lead and follow. And from there, I honestly got hooked, and then I went to Sebring and hired, I think you have to pay for instructors.
Yeah,
you pay for instructors, and luckily mine was an older guy that had a GT3 Cup car, so he wasn't scared, and not that I was going to scare him anyways, but taught me some stuff. And then at DRT, because of that, I met a lot of guys, that we all know, Chris and Ernie, and just a lot of the Miami guys that we all kind of know. Became really good friends with them, and like I said, it's definitely kind of changed my life. I've done business with some of these guys, not even part of my business, because I own a machine shop that I manufacture parts for these scooters and this little motorcycle. So I've done some business with some guys, and it, like I said, and then from there, you guys did Farron. And Farron, when you go to Farron, and for the listeners, Farron it's really, it's like a family. You guys are. I'm not gonna get like choked up, but now that I'm thinking about this stuff, like, it's really a family that, we went, and we were the first ones, and we all knew each other, and there's
you were the OG, man. You were there at the very first one, like when we had like all of like 10 people. It was like, oh man, is this gonna actually be something, man? What is this?
But the good thing is nobody had egos. Everybody was very just so open-armed, like, hey, we're here to do this thing. We're going to drive in the mountains. And it was just a good time. And then, you guys had your second one, and I think I you guys, I had been driving a little bit more and going to track days, and you guys were like, hey, my wife goes with me every year. So she's, she's such a trooper, but I know that in a lot of these turns and stuff like that, she didn't, typically she got sick a lot of times. So you said, hey, you guys, you want to do be a leader? And I was like, yeah, sure, I guess. So then from there became a leader, and kind of, that was such a great time. I think we had a lot of people, still meeting people from that I have met through DRT, through you guys, just friends, other events that we go to. And then we had the third one. And that again was I was a leader there. I got lost. From that point on, it just, like I said, everything really has changed. I've met a lot of people, a lot of famous people with you guys. I've talked to you guys. You guys have taught me, like, when I used to talk about cars, Porsches, it would be like, what year is this? And I remember one year at DRT, I sat down with you and Aaron, and Mike was telling me the full history of, okay, this is, 356. This is a long hood. This is a G body. This is a short, short. And 964 and 996, 996. I mean, you spent like an hour talking to me, because I was always that guy that would be, what year at 9/11 you have? And, I was never the person of the chastity number. So that, like I said, and I remember Mike always telling me, don't worry, you'll get educated pretty soon. Don't worry, you'll get educated.
Was I right? I was like, dude, it's just, like, you have the passion. I mean, it's clear, like, when you meet people, people are passionate people. Like, you're a passionate person about many things, not just Porsche, like many things in your life, your family, your friends, like your business. It was just a matter of time, because, you were going to dive down that deep hole. Like, you don't do anything in your life half-assed. So it's not like, oh yeah, I have some Porsches and I have no idea what they are. You're not that guy. So I knew that.
Yeah, so I mean, I think we did the third Farron, and I led again. And when we go to Farron for the last, I think 3 times we did it at Helen. We all dressed up. We went to Oktoberfest, and everyone's dancing, everyone's having a great time. It's definitely like you feel like you're with family. You really feel like you don't have cliques. You don't have, you don't have the people that, you go to some of these groups and, okay, they're going to, you can have literally millionaires sitting, and you can be sitting there and you don't even know it. So, I mean, definitely a great time, a great opportunity. And, for any of your listeners that are kind of on the fence of thinking of going to Farron, that's kind of where a lot of this started. So I think on my 3rd or 4th lead, I met 4 guys that we got kind of held behind from traffic and stuff like that. And we kind of bonded, because I felt, I don't want to say the black sheep, but we were always behind, just because there was so much traffic that year. So, we were like, hey, whatever, we're gonna,
you guys embrace the suck together, right? What is that, like in the Marines? Embrace the suck, dude. Like,
yes. So we ate together, we did everything together, and from there we became friends, and we had a group chat from when we were at Farron, and we never broke that chain, that chat that we had. And it continued on and on and on. And then we named our chat, I think my wife named the chat, or maybe Matt's wife named the chat, the Schoolgirls, because she said we were like a bunch of schoolgirls chit-chatting. So as that became, we were literally, I mean, we literally chatted maybe sometimes 100 times, texting. And then one day, actually from there, I had talked to a guy, James, and I am into watches, and he had a Seiko watch, and it was something that I've never seen before. It's not the typical Rolex or, Patek or any of your tag. And I said, oh, what kind of watch is that? And he told me, and he brought me into this whole group of Seiko watches, and I started collecting these watches.
To a different type of meth.
Yes.
Yes. So, he talked about it, and then one day we were just chit chatting, bullshitting, and I think what happened was just off the cuff, we had said, "Hey, why don't we do a podcast?" And Matt was like, he didn't have any out. He was always like, he worked and then came home. So he jumped on the ball, got a website, went to a pod hosting site, figured it out. We bought equipment, and we said, we're just going to talk like we do on our text. We're going to talk about whiskey, watches, and wheels. And that's the name of our podcast. So we do talk about a lot of Porsches. Lately, the topic has been about EVs and stuff. But every day we go in and we say, "Hey, what are you wearing?" Okay, you show your watch. You talk about your watch. What are you drinking? We talk about our bourbon. We have another gentleman, Casey, who's another great guy. He has, I think, over 200 bottles of bourbon. So he always talks about his bourbon. We all drink bourbon. Matt doesn't drink too much, but he collects Seikos as well. And now we've gotten Casey to start collecting Seikos. So
I love it. You guys are all bad influences on each other. I love it. Brothers in arms, man.
Yeah, we all have Porsches. We all have, we love driving. And just like them, I can't speak much for Casey, but I know Matt and James and myself, our lives do kind of revolve around who we hang out with is Porsche. So with that, we've kind of gone our own little, we've kind of tried to do what you guys are doing, but we did it as just, hey, you know what? Let's just do something for fun. Let's not make it where we're going to sell anything. And again, it was more of a out for kind of us to get together and just kill time, kill an hour. We do usually 45 minutes to an hour.
That's how it starts.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, I was going to say the evolution of that, not to hijack you there, but that's how Aaron and I started, and it spiraled. You were a testament to that. It started with just him and I, two passionate guys about Porsche, and then there were some people that had interest, and it turned into one of those things. It's like, okay, hey, well, I go to some rallies. I know those guys know those roads. Like, why don't we make some roads for our people? Like, well, how do we set this up? And like, where I'm going with this is, who knows what you guys' sky's limit is? You guys are very early on still, and it could, Aaron and I are 5+ years now. Like, who knows what that looks like for you?
If you ever rename your podcast, you should name it Text to Speech, because that would be funny, because it's out of text to talking. So.
Yeah, so I mean, from there, the evolution has continued to grow. So, when we had COVID, I started a business called Asphalt Killers with a Z, and I was I brought somebody over from Slovenia to be a graphic designer for me. He was very into JDM stuff, and I was always going to car shows, so I figured, you know what, why don't I'm already there, why don't I start selling stuff, and then COVID hit. So I literally launched this company in January, and then we all know COVID hit in March. I had probably $10,000 worth of t-shirts that I was gonna sell. I bought a freaking transit van that I was gonna do, and that transit van ended up turning into a van to go watch Rolex, because we know, as you guys know, that's the hang around. Yes, it's got a rack that you can stand on. We put a bed in it. It's got a heater now.
On the floor, bitch. You know.
And Mike's telling these stories because, again, we do hang out. And I froze my ass off one year because I let my wife and my daughter sleep up top. And I literally...
Good dad, good husband. Seriously.
I woke up in a shitty mood, and everybody was around me, and my wife was saying something to me. And I said, hey, I slept on the floor. That's why I'm in a shitty mood. And what happens? Aaron makes a t-shirt and puts my feet hanging outside the van, sleeping in green.
So good.
Yes. And I mean, and I'll go back to even with Farron, my car is rainbow. It was rainbow, not anymore, but it was, Apple livery. Mike, I talked to Mike about doing that because I didn't know, like, for me, it was like my car was white, and I asked Mike, you think I would put this rainbow on my car? And he was like, yeah. I'm like, well, it's a rainbow. And he's like, bro, freaking do it. Just do it. So
it's one of the
did
most
it.
iconic liveries ever. Do that.
Yeah.
Yes, and Paul Newman is. I'm a big fan of his, so I was like, well, okay, I'm gonna do that. So I did it, and it was very. Everybody knows me as Apple Livery, so the Apple Livery car. So from there, then I have we have Chad, and he goes one year and makes T-shirts for me and my wife, and as a joke, puts upside down pineapple racing. That's an inside. It's an inside joke. But puts my car on there, and he wears it and gives us the shirts, and just.
But another friend you met through Porsche stuff, Chad, right?
Yes,
and you guys are very good friends now.
Yeah, I mean, you got to the point where, whenever it was kind of ongoing. Where's Kevin? I don't know. Where's Chad? Where's Chad? I don't know. Where's Kevin? Like, we were always like chit chatting. He's a business owner himself, so we would always just talking about business and stuff. And like, I can't say that I have been to any other car culture. We all have been on JDM cars and stuff. I've been in JDM cars. I've been in hot rods, but the Porsche scene has been a scene where, going back to the Asphalt Killers thing, I decided to go to another direction after 3 years. What am I doing? I'm with you guys. I'm either at an event, at rallies. I don't have time to be selling T-shirts and going to these young,
like a drift event or something, right?
Right. I don't have time for that, because any time that I have, I want to be either driving my Porsche at a rally or at a race, or just hanging out with my friends because they are such a good group of people, And the other thing too is, we don't just hang out with just the bros, it's our wives. And that's something in the hot rod culture, when the hot rod club that I was in, it was very much so a kind of almost, they wanted to be like a biker club.
Bros only, right?
Yeah, bros only, no family. With you guys, everyone's wives included, we all make friends, we all hang out together, to the point that even though we have our group, the schoolgirls, my wife and the other girls, they named their group Just the Meats. So, as in peggers, to make fun of our little group. And then they basically talk shit about us talking all the time. So, I decided probably about a year and a half ago, I wanted to make Porsche parts, because I was getting a lot of, again, friends saying, hey, you own a CNC machine, can you make this? I tried to buy this from this person, they're out of stock. A lot of these boutique shops, they have one or two parts. And my business doing scooters, how it started was, I wanted to grow the hobby, and I wanted to make parts and be a one-stop shop. And I was doing the same thing. I was buying from this guy and this guy and this guy, and they didn't have the parts in stock. And I had sold a motorcycle shop, so I had capital. So I went ahead and started buying from all these people, and then they would take my money and then, sell the parts to retail, even though I had paid for the parts. So I decided to buy a CNC machine, and that is how I decided, I'm going to make Porsche parts. So I'm in the process right now of making quite a few of Porsche parts, and a lot of the Porsche parts are, in my opinion, are overpriced. There's Porsche tax involved, as we say.
Absolutely.
So I do want to, I'm in my 40s. You guys are as well, maybe. I think you guys are in your 40s, close.
Aaron's close.
I want to stretch my money so I can do more, as we all do, but I don't want to, I feel that, hey, if I can make the same parts, they're made in America, they're made from American metal.
You're filling a gap.
It's
obvious,
and you're making them better too.
You're filling a gap. It's that simple.
Yeah, and we're doing the quality control that I do on these bike parts. I hopefully the thing that the hardest part's going to be for me is going to be getting someone to look at a part, and if it's $100 cheaper, it doesn't mean that it's $100. It's an inferior part. So we've been doing a lot of videos of it, stuff on the CNC machines, and I haven't really announced it yet because I get one person to go to the site maybe one time, and I don't want to have two parts in there. So unfortunately for me, I have quite a bit of capital into these Porsche parts that I'm making. So, and then I release them because I'm not a drop shipper. I've never been one. So when you order from the company, then it's going to ship the same day.
Got it.
So, you know, my whole evolution has been from there. I've sold my 991.1. See, I even know now it's not
Look at him.
2016.
Fancy. You better. You're going deep into the Porsche. Yeah, let's talk. Take this like what you're doing right now, and roll us into like everything you've got in the stable, so everybody can hear.
So from here, I traded my car in, and again with Mike and Aaron. I think Mike was there. We were at a Porsche on Centrals, I believe, and maybe I think it was my birthday. So again, part of family. You know, we all celebrated for my birthday, and we were in St. Pete, and I was looking at a Ruby Redstone 992, and Aaron said, "Wait a second." One of our other friends who works for Porsche as a salesperson, he has this car, who happens to be another guy that was building that car backed out of it. So I purchased a Vantai Racing 992 GT3 in shark blue, and it was kind of immediately. Then you guys were like, how are you going to wrap it? What color are you going to do? Blah, 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 blah. But also before that, I had always wanted to go on air-cooled rallies. I had been a big bus or a VW Beetle guy, so I've had a lot of them in my life.
Yeah, you and I have talked a lot about that. You and I bonded heavy on like very early Beetles because I had some and I had the bus, and I remember us talking about that.
Yeah, and then I said, you know, hey, I think there's a lot more rallies that are air-cooled genre than, you know, water-cooled. So I decided I wanted to get a water cooled. So I reached out to one of your guys' sponsors through James, who again is on our podcast. He was at my house I think just on a vacation coming to Florida, and said, "Hey, if this is what you want, this guy has a whole bunch of cars." So I picked a 1980 Weissach package SC. And got full interior done. I didn't want to get a motor done, but I ended up having to get a complete motor, some paint work. And I just ended up going to my first air-cooled rally, which was Gator Crawl, hosted by Keith. Had a good time. It wasn't my cup of tea, naturally, because a lot of the roads that we drove were roads that I drive every single week going from Tampa to St. Augustine.
You saying the van handles better? Is that
Yeah.
Old farm roads, right?
Yes, it was fun, more so to meet the people and to talk to the people and to talk to people. You guys know, it's a lot of times it's, oh, what do you do for a living? Oh, I sell furniture. I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. I'm this. Or, yeah, I sell scooter parts. I mean, I am kind of the black sheep. Yeah, I sell scooter parts. So
I wouldn't say that. I just think everybody's just eclectic, right? That's the beauty of it. It's like one guy's like, "Oh, I'm a banker. Oh, I'm a dentist. Oh, I'm a doctor. I'm a private business owner. Oh, I'm a fill in the blank." That's the beauty of that stuff.
Right.
Start
so
just changing it up.
I did that, and when I went to this event, everyone knew how rare the car was. I think they've only imported like 190 in metallic gray, and then another 190 in gold. And I'm getting rock chips on the car, and
freshly painted.
It's brand, freshly painted.
Fresh painted.
I'm in a fast group. I literally had to back off some because I'm like, oh my god, and driving a 915 transmission is not like driving anything else. You have to kind of take your time and baby it. And as I'm doing all of this, I'm thinking to myself, man, I don't know if I want to mess up this car. So right then and there, I knew another one of our friends who happened to be in my group 2 years ago. We became good friends. He's selling his car. So I'm in the process of purchasing another car that's rally prepped so that I And the
Daily
way
Bugle.
They are cool, just like that. They double. I love it.
yes. And, I had to talk to my wife and said, hey, look, this is what I want to do. And she's like, I want to, should I sell my, my car that I just bought? And she said, hell no, Kevin. You take losses on cars. You just got this car. Like, I got the car the week of Rolex. So by the time this comes out, it'll probably be a month. She's like, you're not selling the car. I'll just buy the car from you, even though, I mean, it's our money. But I'll buy the car from you, and I'll drive the YSOC. And then you can drive your whatever car you want. And I said,
beat up whatever rally car you want to beat up, right?
Yeah. And I said, oh, okay, great. So I've had to kind of tell my employees, like, oh yeah, well, I'm buying another one. And they're probably looking at me like,
Must be doing well. Must be doing well.
I mean, they all know.
So inflation
too.
is not affecting our income, is what you're saying, boss.
I have to kind of reiterate to them, like, hey, I've had other business before. I live in a small house, but I do feel guilty sometimes because, I do pay my guys very well and stuff, but I'm like, oh, I'm buying another car. So luckily, like I said, my wife has, said, hey, I'll pay for it and you can use, I'm not giving you what you paid. I'll just pay for the new car. So, hopefully by the end of February, I will have Asphalt Killers done. And then I'm probably going to give you guys your members discount codes, and a lot of the,
nice.
When I go to rallies, give them discount codes as well. So that's something that you guys can offer your, the members. And like I said, it really has, I've been talking to Aaron. I talk to Aaron probably on a weekly basis. I talk to you a lot, Mike, too. But from P-Car Talk and from having a Porsche, like I said, it really has changed my life and my business, my family, and my friends. And I think a lot of that has just to do with it. They say I do Honda, so they say you meet the nicest. Their motto is you meet the nicest people on a Honda, but you do meet some pretty damn nice people driving a Porsche, and it's a little more fun, especially when you're driving it a lot faster. And you can drive a car faster than a motorcycle when you're going on in North Carolina.
Absolutely. So rewinding a little bit on what you said, I totally agree with everything that you said. Now, I just want to take you in a point in time before you bought your first GT3. And I remember, and I'm sure Aaron remembers this because we all come from different parts of the car world. Was your impression of Porsche totally different than when it obviously, you rave about it now, but going in, did you have a stereotype in your mind? I know I did. I don't want to speak for you, but did you think you're like, oh my God, those guys are fill in the blank? What did you think at that before?
So the reason why I did not want a Porsche is because, like I told you guys before, I wanted to get something flashy. And I did not know that, to me, they all look the same. From 1969 to now, they still hold true to their design. But at that time, I didn't like that. I wanted something that, it's, I don't know, like a Ferrari or like, they just, even if you look at a Nissan Skyline, from the 70s, it doesn't look like a Nissan Skyline.
It does. I know what you're saying. You wanted something to not blend, right? Like where, like a Porsche, minus, take away any color, but take even the highest level, like a brand new GT2 RS, put it in with no carbon exposed, but just a solid state color like white or silver. That car can go down the road, and 90% of the people on the road, that would be unassuming. Like nobody would bat an eye at that car. Meanwhile, $500,000 is rolling down the road.
Yeah, and I think that was the hardest part for me at the beginning, is because since they all kind of look the same, I didn't know the difference between a 991 G-body 964 or a 997 or any of that stuff, because I only knew years. And even then, I didn't know, oh, this year to this year is this chassis, So that was one of the things that was my preconception of a Porsche. And plus, I did not know the engineering of a Porsche. I've had my daughter, we bought her a BMW. It was okay, but a Porsche is not a BMW. I know it's German engineering. I definitely think it's far superior from or to a BMW, Volkswagen, or even a Mercedes. And my wife drives a nice Mercedes. And the other thing was the value. We're in a time where the value does not drop. I've bought my car for 125, my 991.1, and after, I don't know, 4 years, I think I owned that car. I traded it in, which nobody ever does, but I traded it in and only lost. And then when I say I lost, I think 100 and I don't know, 100 and something. I'm not gonna say in case somebody buys it, but I didn't lose a lot.
Yeah, the delta wasn't huge like you would on any other car, essentially.
No, not at all. And yes, you have upkeep costs and stuff like that, but I definitely drove I drove that car, and it was such a great car for started up every time.
Yeah.
Never put it on a battery tender. And I would park the car for sometimes a month or two and not even drive the car. And I put 20,000 miles on the car. So,
yeah. And that car's been all the way up to North Carolina to Miami and everywhere, like in between, like rain, shine, it doesn't matter. Like that thing, we've went on a lot of trips together in that car and put a lot of miles on that car. And, it's super reliable, right? Like you can't put miles like that on a GT3. Are you kidding me? I watched you do it.
Yeah. And they weren't mall miles. They were, hey, when I'm driving the car, I'm not typically driving it to go out to dinner. I'm usually driving my wife's car that she has Jarvis, as she says, because it hands her the seatbelt, and it's got heated seats, and I had race seats in my car with 6-belt harness and stuff. So, and full, not quite as loud as yours, Mike, but pretty damn loud. So,
yeah, it was loud. I remember one of my favorite memories. Actually, it's a pretty uneventful memory, but for us, it matters. Like, it was the three of us and Danny at 3:00 in the morning in downtown Miami at Taco Bell. He had, I think at that time, he had his car, his 993 Turbo with a big wing, your car with the wing. And we ordered Taco Bell drive-thru, parked in the parking lot, put tacos on the back, and just chit-chatted and ate tacos like for an hour at like 3:00 in the morning in Miami, like on the back of the wings. And that was like
2RS. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like,
dude. And we see that now. Everybody does that. We did that shit 4 or 5 years ago.
Exactly. Where it wasn't even like, we were literally just using it to eat, not trying to be cool. Like, we didn't even take any photos, I don't think. We were just kind of like, hey, we're just in Miami for DRT. We're hanging out late, chilling. We're hungry. We're having fourth meal. We're doing our thing.
Yep. And we had to turn our cars off because they couldn't hear on the mic.
That was hilarious. Yeah, I remember that. They're like, we can't hear your order. You're like, whoa. But so, I mean, so many memories, right?
Yes, and like I said, it has to do with, I think, the group. There is times, there's a lot of PCA memberships and stuff, but our group is so much different than that. We're a lot younger group. We're into driving hard and having a good time. Like I said, we most of us drink bourbon. We're young professionals. We're not retired, even though we do have some people that are retired in our group, but we're not retired just looking to go to the Carrabba's. I hate to say that, but that's just the way it is. Like, right. I know, Aaron, you're laughing, but that we're not going for the $5.99 spaghetti dinner. We're having and drive our cars. So it's just, like I said, I've met a lot of people and a lot of great friendships from this, and it definitely has, changed my life, and it's been great. And I listen to you guys, your podcast, and you're talking to, guests. In the earlier days, you were talking to guests. I know those people because I had the privilege of being the manager and not saying,
social media manager.
Manager, yeah. I know that. Yeah, I know this guy, and a lot of times I don't know the names and stuff, but I'm always usually with you guys, or if I'm not with you guys, I'm with other people, and the friends that you meet, they remember maybe not necessarily your name, but they remember your face in your car.
Absolutely.
I mean, Mike, let's face it. Look at Mike's car. Mike, you said, here's another point. You said, hey, I want to do a livery.
That's
Okay,
true.
what do you want? And you told me. I had my guy Ron do the
Yeah.
design, and now everyone's copying your stuff. I mean,
I
now
know,
we're seeing
right?
it.
Yeah.
We're
Now
seeing
I'm
it,
the
On
and
all other cars too, right? Like, so it's
yeah,
crazy.
and hopefully we can get Aaron to do something
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
his
Yeah,
a
that'll be
livery on his.
exciting when it's time. Yeah, I mean, Kevin, I totally agree with you. And I think that, the dynamic, to circle back with like the outside coming in, I thought Porsche was very standoffish. And I think there are levels to that within Porsche. There are people that are that way. And I really feel bad for them in the sense of like, they haven't figured it out yet. Meaning, like, there are a lot of good people within Porsche. There's a lot of, you know, good groups of people to hang out with that are just, even keel, level headed people. Because there are those people that do get into Porsche for all the wrong reasons, right? Like they buy the car because they want to just do photo shoots with their car. They want to just post Instagram pictures with their car, and they don't actually want to do fun stuff with people. They want to give the perception of that. They want to live an idea instead of actually just living. And I think the difference with our group of people in the extended group of people, at least that we've encountered through, not just through P-Car Talk, but even in the air cool community, which you're going to broaden your horizons very soon, Kevin, with these additional rallies going to them. You're going to see that group of people is just as passionate as the P-Car Club people. They're and they love their air cool cars, and a lot of our members bleed into that air cool community as well. And the common thread there is that they're just decent people. And then the cars are the bonus, because like you mentioned, vacationing with James and hanging out with him and going to your, vacation property and doing stuff like that, and him coming down here and us hanging out with him. And it's not even car related. So that just shows you the depths of friendship. The cars are the beginning of it. The Porsches are the beginning of it. But then, you actually spend time together. You actually genuinely like each other's, being around each other and spending that time. And what a great thing to have, right? What a great, the best intro ever. Oh, hey, that's your Porsche. This is my Porsche. Cool. Like, you're at this rally. I'm here. Like, dude, you like bourbon. I like bourbon. It's like that Step Brothers thing. Did we just become best friends?
Yes,
Yep.
we did.
You want to go to your basement and do karate? Yep. Like one of those kind of things. And it's, I don't know, it's just cool, right? Like Aaron and I, that's how we were.
Yeah, and Aaron, I know you don't talk very much on these, but you can share. Why don't you share some memories that you and I have had in St. Augustine and
Man.
playing drums and
Yeah, I did play drums. I don't remember getting back to the house. But I stumbled upon that. I had the best grilled cheese I've ever had. It was
love it.
quite early in the morning. It's free.
Yeah, we've been at No
Cheese
Name
mix.
before,
Oh, yeah.
where I'm literally telling, and your audience is not going to believe this, I'm telling Aaron to shut up.
Yeah, because I wasn't eating my food. We ordered something, and I was just going, just chatting.
Yeah, and I mean, and I've introduced him to some of my friends in St. Augustine that we've just become friends with, and this guy wouldn't. I was like, "Are you gonna stop talking? I've never heard you talk this much, Aaron." And he was, yeah. I mean, so passionate.
Probably because I think I had Tito's and Red Bull, a lot of
Yeah,
them
when
are
Aaron's
decent
blood
enough.
sugar's up, he's
I
a
get
chatty
some
Cathy, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the guys were like, "Who is this guy?" And I'm like,
Why is he
So much more room for activities.
"Yeah, we've been to." What did you say, Aaron?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were like, I thought he was a quiet guy. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been to bars together where I'm feeding Aaron drinks because I know he doesn't normally talk too much, and next thing you know, he's playing air drums and I'm playing air guitar.
Exactly. No for no, B for B. I was crushing it.
It's just
And if
supposed to
you
have a
guys-
couple of drinks and turned into a rager.
Yes, and if you
so.
guys have not, I know a lot of your listeners know Aaron and know Mike, but if you haven't seen Aaron play air drums, he's pretty on point. I actually asked him,
Pretty decent at it.
"Have you played drums before?" And he opened up his eyes at that point and was like, "Oh, we've had Chad I think Chad has even
Yeah.
started playing air guitar
Yeah.
at
He doesn't like
an
live
event.
music.
He's a very professional. Yeah, that's right.
Aaron's
He doesn't-
Aaron's secret talent, man. Aaron and I had traveled so much together in the past. We haven't traveled as much lately. I mean, there hasn't been a lot of stuff that we've been going to, minus like Rensport, all that. But I remember distinctly, it was probably like 4 or 5 years ago. It was just Aaron and I when we used to him and I used to just grind out on the road. I wake up and there was a piano in this place, and the piano was playing. And I'm like, what the hell is that? I mean, I know what a piano sounds like, but I'm like, where's that coming from? So, it's like probably some old person's house. They had like a sitting room and there was a piano out there. And I walk out there and he's playing the piano, like gin and juice on the piano. I was like, what are you doing? Like, I didn't know you knew how to play piano. He's like, oh yeah. And he just starts like at like 7 a.m. before we like go to the track, starts like ripping on the piano. And I'm like, holy crap, dude. Like hidden talents. Like I had no idea that you could do that.
I got a couple things. I've definitely done music for a long time, but drums, no, I haven't played drums professionally. I can probably.
Professionally. Well, no shit. I haven't
But-
played. I play guitar, but
Back when Rock Band on Xbox was a big deal, I played that.
Oh man, I'm so good at that. Love Rock Band.
Yeah, I mean, there's been, I have friends of ours now. I mean, Chris, there's a guy, Chris, that is such a nice guy. He's come over to, he lives in Miami and he'll be doing business in Tampa or Jacksonville. He'll come by and, hey, what's going on? And I don't think people really, I don't know. Like I said, I've been in the car scene I've had some friends and I still have some friends from like back in the days of Nopi. I mean, Mike, you know Nopi.
Oh yeah, I remember meeting one of actually your buddies at I think Rolex last year or something, or HSR or something. I met him.
Yeah, HSR, yeah. I mean, me and my wife were dating, so I have been definitely in the car scene. But like I said, it definitely when you're a car person, I've heard you say it many times, Mike and Aaron. When you're a car person, you're a car person, and people look at me and they go, "How can you spend all this money in a car?" And I look at it as, well, it's something I like, and I don't. I look at it this way: more people see me in a car than come to my house.
Yeah.
So
same.
That's true.
Well, I think the odd thing, and I'm sure you can relate to this, Aaron and Kevin both. I think we've had these conversations before. Minus your immediate family, Kevin, but like you're that guy in your family, meaning like brothers, sisters, your mom, dad, like you're the car expert in the family, right? Like if something's up, hey, what's this? It could be on their Nissan Altima, but they're going to ask you because you know so much about cars. And you're like, I don't know. What is that? I got like a CVT transmission in it. Why are you asking me that crap? But I think we're all of our own family's outcasts, minus a couple other outliers that, like Taylor and his brother are very like into cars. But for the most part, like my brother, he could care less. Like he's got a lifted truck and he's just like, yeah, I know you're into cars, whatever. I don't care. Like I like guns and ammo. I'm like, cool. And different strokes for different folks, but I feel like all of us outcasts have kind of like found each other, and like you hit the nail on the head and said family. Like we've all created like our own family around that, right? Like so, if you're an outcast, literally like come on,
like we're Fast and Furious. I mean, we've taken pictures because I'm bald.
Yeah,
that screenshot's hilarious.
Family. Well, it's in our group text. That's what like people joke around about that, right? And they're like, "Hey, he's Vin Diesel." They're like, it's family.
Yeah, I mean, and Aaron, your dad just purchased. He was a Corvette guy, right? So, what did he just purchase?
He moved in. He went from that 14 C7 Vet to a 996 Turbo in 03.
Nice.
Still
and Aaron
gray.
was telling me too.
PTS so great.
Yes, that's an inside joke. I actually asked Aaron too. I said, "Hey, what color is it? Seal gray?" He goes, "Actually, it is." And, but he made a comment to me, and he said, you guys do an event called Porsches on Central, and when he went there, some of our members said, "Hey, here's some wheels, or here's a tune." What did they give your dad? Aaron?
Oh yeah, when he bought it, he got a bunch of that stuff, but he ended up getting some like extra lug nuts. He needed some extended lug nuts. Chad had some, and then Chad was like, "Hey, I got this alternator. Do you want that?" And like,
yeah.
So he's got a bunch of other stuff. Yeah. So, and like, oh look, that was another thing. Like, So my dad was wanting to get the wheels on, and he's like, "You think we get the wheels on today?" I'm like, "I don't know. Let's ask Corey." So
Yeah, let's see if we can make it
texted
happen.
Corey. So K Corey, he bought it from. In fact, we texted C Corey because we have to name the Corey. So texted C Corey. I was like, "Hey man,
Both rally members, both awesome, both in different cities.
Exactly. So this was 2.5 hours away. So with back where we live. So I was like, "Yeah, let me." He's like, "Sure, come on by." I was like, "Be by probably like 2:00." So sure, went over there. Went by. I figured that I would be like jacking up the car with a jack and then taking the wheels off. Nope. Corey stopped what he was doing. George stopped what he was doing. Had my dad pull in the car. George is jacking up the car. Got the impact gun out. Took all the wheels off. Make sure everything wasn't touching, fit right. Looked at the rears. Put it out without spacers. See if that worked. George noticed it was rubbing, and then so we put spacers on. So it was a lot of back and forth. And then about the time they were about to put the car down, Corey had already had the tune hooked up and being loaded up to the car. So, and
does he not like those twists? Why did he take those off?
I don't know. I'm
a big twist guy. I like the twists though. So
I do too. Kevin said the same thing. I think it's just he'll get in there. He's not been in the Porsche game long enough.
Yeah. Remember, he used to be a Corvette driver. So
I know.
It's baby steps.
Hey, this is a big leap. I'm proud of him. I mean, you've never met Aaron's dad, and we all have. And this is you guys all. Yeah. My dad's the same way. Hard. He's an old school guy. And, like, they're 70-something years old. They're like, if you couldn't think of an old school guy, ex-military, retired, Anglo-Saxon, Corvette, they got Corvettes screaming out of them, whether they want to or not. That's his dad. That's my dad. And he made the leap. So if you know somebody who's, like, unsavable, it's still not too late for them. It can still happen.
I can attest, though. I mean, this is the same guy that I have seen him on roller skates. For my birthday, again, when we talk about family, on my birthday, hey, let's go roller skating. I haven't roller skated, I figured that in probably 35 years. But, Aaron met his wife at a roller skate rink, and his dad used to work at a roller skate rink. And this guy puts on roller skates. And again, I mean, there's so many stories, I can tell, you guys have all been to my house since then. Obviously, my house is full of Porsche art.
I'm a furniture maker as well
that I make, and my wife, because she is, I started buying it. There's been times we've been at DRT, and I wanted to buy an art.
Like making a coffee table. No, those wheels are too expensive. I'm not making a damn coffee table out of that. It's just too expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I've had Chad. I bought 2 pieces of art, and I think, I got a roll cage. I can't put it in, but I already paid the guy. How am I going to get this home? I'll put it in my what is it, 997, and then, and then he didn't want to give me the art piece back. So it's definitely, like I said, it's I can't say enough about P-Car Talk, P-Car members, and just our group, just the people that I've met, and how, like I said, it's definitely changed everything.
I would say, like, we don't have a ton of members. I'll be transparent about that, but the members we do have, like, they all know each other. Like, they're all friends. Like, so that's something unique, I would say, about our membership that's probably unlike any other membership, because our members are involved for the most part. I mean, everybody comes to the rally. Everybody talks to each other, like you said. They either engage with us on social media. It's rare if there's somebody who's a member that we haven't engaged with them at some point, and not even just like on a fanboy level, like an intimate level. Hey man, I did this to my car because you guys talked about it, and I really appreciate it. I had no idea this was out there. I did this, and it's like, oh, that's awesome. It's like, oh, I met, like you said, how many stories, Aaron, have you heard outside of Kevin's where it's like, oh, I met so-and-so at you guys' rally, and now we're like best friends. I had no idea. He lives 15 minutes from my house. I didn't know that. Like stuff like that.
In California, when some guy walked up to me, he talked about he bought his 914 because of us. I was like, ooh, I'm not Mike.
You're like you must have not have been listening to me, because
wasn't me.
I'll tell you to your face, you made a mistake, bro. No, I'm just kidding.
And I was like, congratulations.
Yeah, you did the professional thing. No, I mean, that's a great car. We've talked about, like, honestly, budget level as a secondary car, if you really want to be in an air-cooled, It's got pop-ups. It's mid-engine. I mean,
Yeah,
not a
now
bad car.
I think Matt, or the guy that does our podcast, the Whiskey Watches and Wheel podcast, he wants a 914, and we kind of bag him
Good
a
for
little
him.
bit on it too. But he's like, hey, that's what's in my budget, and that's what I want. And like, again, we're doing it as a friendly thing. And to your
Yeah,
point, Matt,
you guys are
Mike,
buds with him. Like it's
yeah,
fine.
and
It's,
even the guy that you were saying, oh yeah, it's jokes. We're always just doing it as a friendly thing, like
yeah.
That's
I think it's the best
mean,
way. Like it's the way the generation we were raised on. Like if I love you, I pick on you. If I don't pick
That's
on
amazing.
you or talk trash
Yeah.
about you, I really don't like you. So if I'm
That's a military
giving
thing, too.
if I'm giving you a hard time, yeah. And Kevin, you grew up your father was in the military. Like you grow up in it. I'm sure you and your brothers were the same way. It's like, hey, I hate you. You're like, I hate you too, which means I love you, but we're men, so we're insecure and we can't say I love you. So I say I hate you.
very, very true.
But yeah, it's the same way. That's the brother, the sisterhood in the Porsche world. It's like, Leslie, she's our first woman driver ever, not just an attendee, but actual driver last year. And she fit in no problem. She was giving everybody just as much hell as people were giving her on a
You're just
sarcasm
coming
point.
back.
Yeah, on a sarcasm standpoint. So it doesn't matter your gender. Like you just have to love the cars. You just have to love the people. And like, and you already know this, Kevin, and you've alluded to it already. And Aaron and I speak this all the time. And I'm sure you guys talk about stuff like this even on your own podcast, Kevin. Like the car for us, the Porsche, was just the vessel to meet all the friendships and the family and that we all have. Like it's, yes, don't get me wrong, the car is a beautiful thing and it's a fun thing and it's part of that element, but it's really was just the engine. It was the catalyst to all of these things, right? Like you said, it changed your life. It changed Aaron and I's life. Like, it put Aaron in the cars he's in. It put me in the cars that I'm in. It's made us closer. We go to the track together. We spend time together. We break bread together. We drink together. We get stupid together. Like all of those things aren't possible unless we all took that leap of faith into Porsche on our own, right? Like we all got here. Like you have your own origin story, how you bought your Porsche, you flew to Charlotte, you got it. Same thing with Aaron. He has his origin story. I have my origin story. Everybody listening has their origin story, but we're all here now, right? And I think that's what makes all of this so amazing. Like everybody's was different. And now you're spiraling, right? Like acquiring more cars, Kevin, like, which I love. You're just like, I want to get this one. I want to get this one. One thing before we break, I want to share. I've told bits and pieces of this story, but since the actual man of the hour is here, I want you, from your perspective, to tell us that DRT story of Aaron and I chirping in your ear about the Singer prototype car that you missed out on.
Oh, geez.
PTSD.
Oh, jeez. I mean, you don't have to get into like
No.
the personality of the person that was selling
that's fine. No, yeah, I don't give a shit now. I didn't get the car, so there's no
I
loss
know.
there. But I think it was our second DRT event. Again, a friend of ours. I love mint green, and I had a rainbow colored car. So he called me and said, "Hey, I got the end of a car. It just hit. No one believes it. It's Singer's prototype car. It's for sale. They're going through divorce." And I was like, okay. At that time, I think, and you guys may remember, maybe I was offering like 70,000 or 80, whatever it was. It wasn't
Yeah,
a lot. It was a lot of money.
At the time.
70?
I think it was like 70 to 80, I think was the range.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Yeah, I think 80 was like the most. So the gentleman, he I guess he used to be part of the owner, or maybe is. I don't know the full story.
And to set
but
the stage, I think this was like 2018-ish, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's about,
Yeah, I
because it
think
was
so.
way pre-COVID.
Yeah.
yes, so she
So
had
it
to
was
sell the
set
car.
probably
it was-
18.
It was assets that they had to sell. They had attorneys involved. She's calling me up. I'm trying to get this car because let's face it, it's mint green 964, and it's got a 3.8 Singer motor in it, and it's got all the Singer stuff in it. It was, I guess, the prototype. It's the car that a lot
It
of
was their
people
mule,
really don't.
their test mule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hadn't been driven for a while. Still ran. So, anyways, her brother had the same name as me. He had unfortunately passed away. She felt a connection with me, was gonna sell me the car. Then he gets involved and makes me sign his document saying that it's not doesn't have emissions, and I'm like, yeah, blah 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 blah. I'm on a track and I have to pull over off the track at Homestead just to take her phone call.
Because you didn't want to miss out on the car.
I didn't want to miss out. Everyone's kind of cheering for me, like, you get in this car, and it's kind of a secret, but like the more and more as the weekend went, more and more people knew that I was trying to get this car, and then people were trying to, hey, I'll buy the car for you for like $40,000 more,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even got the car yet. Long story short, I did not get the car. Ultimately, he sold it to one of his friends and kept, probably kept it.
Did some like divorce hustle move, right?
Exactly. And the lady was still calling me after the deal didn't go through. And my wife's like, hey, tell her to stop calling. Like, you didn't get the car. Hit the F.
She's got she's got no reason to contact you anymore.
Yeah. And, but again, even now, it's like the relationship between cars and stuff. So, and to this day, I still want a mint green car. And, but hey,
it's so funny. Aaron and I were trying to I remember distinctly, we were sitting, I think we were in the art district, and we're sitting down there like having a drink, and he goes and takes like a call, and I was like, he's like, all right, she wants like 89. I'm not doing it. I think she's just trying to hustle me or whatever. She's just trying, if I give her that, she's going to keep getting. I was like, Aaron and I are like, give her whatever she wants. Like, you need to buy this car. I was like, this is a mint green 964 prototype. He's like, but I don't even know if it runs. Like, this is an 18. Like, to be fair to Kevin, like, we're trying to be his advocate. We're telling him, we're like, dude, even if it doesn't run, like, what do you spend? $2,000 to make it run when it gets here? Like, I guarantee it doesn't have a blown motor. It's just probably like needs fluids, like a new battery, maybe a new fuel pump. Who knows? He's like, but it's just been sitting outside. What if I buy it? It's this big piece of crap. It gets here. And I'm like,
and we had seen pictures and stuff.
Worth its weight
we saw
in
pictures.
gold.
Yeah, and Wesley's over here getting a tow truck guy lined up for me to get it off the Shaver property.
And to be fair, this was very early on, like Kevin into Porsche still. Like, this was Kevin's like maybe second year into Porsche. So he was like, he knew that he liked 964s because I had a 964, but he didn't know the risk he was taking. So he was being very cautious. So it wasn't that he was being like dumb about it and being frugal. He was just playing like, am I buying a $90,000 paperweight? Like, I don't want.
Well, you guys got to remember too.
This is in 2000. That's all I knew.
2019, 2018. I'm sorry, 2018.
Yeah.
I'm buying it. I bought my GT3 for 125. It's at 2016, and then I'm paying $90,000 for a 1992.
Maybe not running 964.
Yeah, that
it was strong. Like, I agree, it was strong money at the time, even for what that was claimed to be. And to be fair to Kevin, like, the documents were lining up, but he hadn't, like, all of this was still hearsay. Like, it had a 3.8 in it. It was told to us that, by reputable sources that it was a Singer prototype car. Like, we researched the ex-husband. He worked for Singer. Things were lining up that it was one of those things. But yet, we didn't have, like, some, like, sealed and, like, oh, okay, chassis numbers, this is an actual Singer. Like, we were doing all of this through, like, basically social media and text message and some phone calls.
And forum pictures and pictures of it, like, at Singer shop. And, like, we had the guy from Rotoform. He was like, yeah, I know that car, because I guess Rotoform used to do, he used to do the wheels for. So, I mean, all this stuff, it was kind of lined up, and that's like, we all have that one car that got away. But, shit.
And that's what Kevin, too. I said, like, I think now, obviously, Kevin has a wealth of knowledge because that was 6 years ago, just recently at Rolex. I think I brought that up. I was like, what would you pay for that Singer car now? He's like, oh, my God, I'd pay 150, 200 grand for that thing now. And I was like, but funny, in 18, like, 90 was all the money, and he was uncomfortable with that then.
Oh, I was sweating.
Yeah. You're like, I think I'm going to be sick. Like, I got to move funds around. Like, I don't know if this is a good idea. And, like, and to be fair, we were still Aaron and I with him were very new in our friendship. So, we were still in our courting phase, maybe like, 2 years in. And he's like, all right, are these guys full of shit, or like they really helping me out, or is it basically I'm like at the casino and they're like, bet it all, dude, bet it all, just do it. It's not my money, bet it all. Like,
I think I even said that to you guys. Stop trying to spend my money, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and you were like, no, it's a nice and
I was
again,
like, dude, I was like, you'll never regret this decision. Like, it'll be the best thing you ever did in your life. I think I say like crazy shit like that. I'm like, dude, just do it. Like, there's nothing that can go wrong here other than you just not getting the car. Like, and you giving her the money.
Money just goes poof.
Yeah. And I think that the following year, or maybe it was that year, Singer was there. And what am I doing? I'm looking at parts to go, what can I make or copy and change the design? Because we all know there's a lot of parts that you can't get unless you buy a Singer or a Gunter Works car.
Yeah, proprietary to like how they do their stuff.
Right, but it's none of it's patented, and it's just a design. And I'm thinking,
you're right.
I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna make this. So
that's one of Kevin's phrases. I can make that.
Yep, he has a shirt.
I can make that.
Yeah. Aaron makes me a shirt. So yeah, there's definitely it's a bittersweet, and like I said, there's a car that kind of got away, but hey, who knows?
I was going to close with where are you going now, but like you answered that earlier with you're getting a second air cooled, which is really cool. So with that car, if and when that happens and occurs, that will be your rally car essentially then, right?
Yeah, so I've made a lot of parts, and I've had we have another friend, Devin. I gave him a shifter to test on his car. I gave him a really good discount on it and stuff. But ultimately, I do want to have a car that I can put my parts on, just to make sure that, I mean, we have them here. We have motorcycles here and scooters here that we're always testing parts. So I want to have my own car, even though I have jigs and I have fixtures and stuff, that also I want to showcase my stuff, you know? Oh, yeah, by the way, you guys all know I'm a very talkative person. I mean, I think this podcast, I'm the one who's talked the most. Can you believe that shit, Mike?
Absolutely. Well, that was the goal.
That's the way we do it.
Aaron and I were going to put cruise control on and let you go. Like, you don't know this, but him and I talked about this already. So
okay,
this is how guests work.
Yeah, so I definitely think to have a car that I can showcase my parts, and then also look at a car that, I've talked to Devin, and he's like, hey, I need a clutch extension for, because my wife can't reach the clutch, and now I'll have a car that I can put it on and test it. And I actually purchased a part from a competitor of mine, even though I'm not really selling parts right now. I made a part, changed the design. That part did not even fit after I had made the part, and I had to actually go back and drill some holes bigger and stuff like that. And I was kind of like, you know what, if I had my own car here, but I didn't want to take my Weissach car and start taking it apart.
Start disassembling it. It just got reassembled. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that before with motorcycles, brand new motorcycles. And there's a story for that. My wife would tell you that, literally one day, the next day, I had a brand new Harley Davidson. She bought me, tore completely apart because I wanted to make it look better. So I didn't want to do this with this new car, especially since I had a rally going on.
So when you're like holding extra like bolts in your hand, you're like, what are these two?
She slammed the door and she said, I should have bought you a piece of shit. But right now I'm developing an exhaust for the SE, and I went to the Gator Crawl, and people were like, what do you have in there? 3.2, 3.4? I'm like, no, it's a 3.0. And they're like, oh my God, your exhaust is, I mean, it's not as loud as Mike's, but it's pretty. I'm like, I still have cats too. So I'm kind of, like
that's
I said.
That's great though, because like, I feel like a lot of those cars are so old. Like many of those design houses are not R&Ding them the way, like you said, like they get dimensions and then they just go off that. But you know what? Like, okay, whoever wrote that initial dimension, like what if they are off by a millimeter? And now everybody's continuing to use that, I don't know, cookie cutter blueprint, and everybody's making parts and they're like, yeah, it fits, but I wish it was like this. So like you're weeding out, it may sound minor, but in the Porsche world, it's big. You're figuring out that.
And that's literally what it was, Mike. You say
1 to 3%.
It was 1 millimeter that the bolt hole for a shock on the deck lid was off. The hole was a 5 millimeter.
And that's enough.
It needed a 6 millimeter bolt that go in there.
Yeah.
For the
and
pin.
That's enough. Like everything, the tolerances are so tight in a Porsche. You already know that. Most of our listeners already know that. Like a millimeter doesn't sound like a lot, but it is in the Porsche world because everything is so tight. Everything matters. So like the smallest a little bit is off, it's not going to work. Like it's just not. So that's great that you're taking the time and the R&D, and then you have the fortitude to go actually source a car. I mean, I know it kind of worked out matter of fact, but I think the sometimes the stars align in the proper way of like, well, hey, I'm making these parts. You know, you want to sell that car. That's actually kind of the car that I need to start doing some of my R&D and fitting with. So like those worlds, you know, are meshing together, which is perfect.
Yeah. So, I mean, in closing, hey, we got
discounts.
We got Farron. We have Farron, and I plan on, hey, I'll be a sponsor of you guys. You know,
so we're talking like 50% discounts for members, or like what?
I'm not making them that cheap. Well, remember, I'm making the parts cheap, so if I made them that expensive,
I'm joking.
But Farron's coming up, and that's the one thing that everybody knows. This will be what, our 5th year or 6th year? 5th year?
Year 5.
Yeah, year 5.
Yeah, so we're definitely even my wife.
Before excited. We're done, so from the real quick, from where it started, meaning foreign, and where we're at now, the maturation process, and where we're currently at, like real quick, your overtake of like the growth, where meaning like not in the sense of growth with the amount of people, but like from the event where it was kind of low key, like you said, where it's still, you know, it's still family, it's all that, but like as we've changed, has it gotten better or worse? Your opinion.
You're welcome.
I know the answer, but I want to hear you say it.
Are you talking about Farron?
Yeah.
Oh,
like from what? Like from where we're currently at. Yeah.
Well, like you said, we started with 10 people, so leaps and bounds. So this year, or last year, I'll use last year because I know this year's going to be the same as last year, if not better. But this year, all inclusive, I don't have to do nothing. I pay my money, and I wait, and I show up. I don't have to worry about my food, where I'm going to eat. You know, it's good when you're budgeting because there's a lot of guys that go on a lot of rallies. You pay your money. It's kind of like you set it and you forget it. Same thing. You pay your money and then you show up. But the accommodations, the rooms, the meals, I mean, I felt like, actually, I have not been to a car event other than, I would say, Amelia, where that's not really it's not even in the same category.
Yeah,
but
it's not a driving thing. Yeah.
Right. It's not a driving thing, but I think you guys went over the top as far as trying to do something where we're all in the same place. We don't have to worry about when we're done and we're tired of driving that we have to, this guy's going here, this guy's going to his Airbnb. Maybe some people are you know what? You're in this small, I guess, hotel or chalet or whatever you want to call it. It's 27 rooms.
We own the compound.
And we're all hanging out. The driving is phenomenal because we have guys that are locals that are driving, and we're not getting, I mean, being a group leader for 3 years, getting lost, Google Maps. You know, they have a passenger in the car with them, dealing with the walkie-talkies. You know, making
lunch at the same time too.
We're all having lunch at the same time, which is, you know, one of the pitfalls that my group dealt with. And so there's no breaking up where, even though it was never click, there was always, hey, we had this group, this group, this group. When it came down to it, we all still hung out at the end of the day. And now we're hanging out all together. We're all, you know, we're meeting at the rally point or the stop. We're taking, you know, maybe a 20, 30-minute break, or we're getting, something's happening, but we're all together. And, you know, and then you guys are doing extra things too. A lot of people don't know. I know there's going to be a surprise. Well, yeah, everybody knows. Last year we went to the Porsche Museum and we had a Porsche dinner, and then we did Petit Le Mans and did that. And this year you guys are doing another event after, which you can. I mean, not a lot of people did last year.
Yep.
But that's above and beyond what a lot of, I feel like this is something that if I went to Europe and did a all-inclusive Europe rally, that's what I would expect. And, you know, who knows, maybe you guys would do something like that.
That's Aaron's touches. Aaron's good at that stuff. he
Maybe.
spent some time over there. He's got some Gucci feels that he puts in on that. He puts the AJ touches on there.
And I will say for your listeners too, there's no sitting around going, oh, what are we supposed to go? What are we supposed to do? Where's this? No, you show up and it's like, boom, here's your room. Here's your welcome packet. Here's all your stuff. Here's your routes.
Cocktail bars open whenever you feel like it. Shower up, do whatever you want to do. We'll be down
here. Very organized. And unfortunately, I wished it would be. I know you guys wish it would be a little bit bigger, but that's also the charm of it. It's that there's 27 rooms, and I know you guys have people that are on the wait list. I'm fortunate enough to be, like you said, an OG. So, but
I think the only reason, and I don't think, and you already know this, Kevin, so I'm not speaking to you, but I think some of the listeners that aren't even members, and we hope they become members someday, it's not that Aaron and I want some cash grab and we want 1 million people to be there. I just want everybody to experience what you just said. And the people that are on the waiting list, that are on the outside, that's the only reason why I want it to be bigger. Because I feel really bad, and I know Aaron does too, about everybody who wants to be there that can't be there. You're a business owner. When you sell out parts, you probably have some loyal customers who are like, hey, dude, I totally missed out on that. And you're like, okay, well, I don't know. I'll probably do another run in 6 or 7 months, man. I don't know when to tell you. One of those kind of things. And it's that feeling of man, I know that guy would really enjoy it. And, and I guess that's just the cost of doing business. There's just something, you can't please everybody, right?
You guys do treat it different. And as the unofficial accountant, even though I don't know you guys' books, but there's been many times where, we get 2 drinks or whatever, and somebody's asking for desserts, and you guys talk to each other and go, yeah, don't worry, we'll pick up the bar tab. Don't worry. Desserts are on the house.
Aaron and I are very good about that. We've been together for so long. He just looks at me and I look at him and I'm just it's almost like eye contact. It's we don't have to have a huddle. There's nothing. It's more of kind of yep, we got it. It's on the house. Yeah.
Yep, do it. And that, again, like I said, and we don't have people taking advantage of the situation, but to have a thing like you hit on the head, Mike, you're doing it and Aaron's doing it for the experience of your members. And that says a lot, because let's face it, we do know a lot of rallies, these big rallies that I know a lot of them give to charity and stuff, but I know a lot of car events that's all these people do. They do car events where it's, JDM cars and stuff like that. And they do maybe a couple of them at a fairgrounds or whatever. And that's their job, so.
And to be fair to a lot of them, and I'm not hating, but I use the word cash grab. Some of them are just cash grabs, man. You have 200 plus cars somewhere. I'm not hating. I'm just saying that's not what we're trying to provide. And it's
right.
Sometimes, it's a detriment, I guess. But, Aaron and I expressed this from the very beginning. We don't do P-Card Talk to make money. If we did, Aaron and I both wouldn't have 9 to 5s. Him and I both still have 9 to 5 jobs. We do this because we love the community. We love you guys as listeners. We love our members. We love I'm not a soft guy, but what you talked about when I first heard about you guys doing your podcast and all that kind of stuff, it brought a smile to my face. I was just man, all those guys are awesome dudes. I love that they're doing their own thing, man. That makes me feel so happy for that, and not even try to take responsibility for it. I just love you guys individually, and the fact that you guys have all gotten together and say, hey, let's do this thing. We're passionate about this. Let's knock it out. Man, that kind of stuff, man, just sends me over the moon, man. The brotherhood behind that.
And like I said, it's Whiskey Watches and Wheels. We have a website, whiskeywatcheswheels.com. Check us out. We don't have a lot of subscribers. I think most of it's just our friends and our families that are, but
that's how it starts, bro.
Yeah, you get to see the bond, and it's for us. It's literally 4 guys, non-scripted, bullshitting, cracking jokes, crying, laughing. And if we don't,
and talking trash about each other.
And if you don't like it, hey, people put comments. We did an EV post about Elon Musk in the truck, and we had a lot of people look at it and talk shit about we had our own opinions, but oh well.
Hey,
So
for better or for worse, it's not for everybody.
That's right.
That's what Aaron and I always say. Aaron and I get a lot of bad press too. I'm like, yo, man, we find our people. If you're not one of them, you know where the road's at,
Oh, well.
man. Jump on and get
Exactly.
your ass out of here.
Yes. Yep.
All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on, man. I know we soaked up about an hour and 20 of your time, but
Yeah.
man, it was lovely having you on the show, man, and just watching you, go through your Porsche development and just being your friend this whole time, man, has been really fun to see, and excited for you making Porsche parts, man. And again, that's Asphalt Killers for whenever that goes live. We're excited for it.
I'll be giving some giveaways. Don't worry, you can bet your ass on that. So
Yeah. I actually have a couple
Well,
of my
we'll
closets
definitely.
right now.
We may have to have when that goes full live. We might have to have you back on the show, and then we'll do a, maybe not as long one, but a half of one, and talk about your new acquisition when you do get that Carrera G body, and see
Okay.
what you end up doing to that, and talk about the new parts, and maybe plug the website and see where that goes, and give everybody who's listening a 50% discount or whatever.
At least.
No problem.
Bare minimum. 100
Total
jokes.
jokes,
guys.
just jokes. All right, brother.
love you guys.
All right.
Love
see
you
ya.
too, man.
Love you too.
All right,
See ya.
Hey, hey, I wanna be a rock star.